everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I'm here today with the first day of Junk Journal July. Today's going to be a super busy day because we have to both make our journal and do the first day. Fortunately, I've got everything all templated out and organized, and I have a paper pack for you for pages, so hopefully it will go easily and quickly. Okay, so the prompt for today is fabric, but we'll be getting into that in just a little bit. Before I do the flip through here, if you're new and you want to join in, please find the link in the description below. Click that, you can sign up, and then you'll get on the list, and I will email you all the printables and information that you need to join in on this project. Okay, so there is a paper pack for this kit. This is the week 1 paper pack, so it's a little bit, there's more papers in it than probably you'll usually be seeing, because I wanted to make sure you had enough pages for your journals. Now, don't feel compelled to print them, because you can use whatever you want. If you want to use all papers that you just have in your house, go for it. If you have a bunch of printable papers that you printed for other projects that you haven't used, go ahead and throw them in this journal. You know, this is the kind of journal that's perfect for all those like odds and ends and pieces and things like that. You can just put them all in there. It doesn't matter if they match, because every day is a different prompt. So every day is a different thing. So we're going to be making a hardcover journal today. So I've everything all laid out, and I will go through that with you guys in a minute. Let me go ahead and do the pages, the flip through over the pages here. I tried to make a good range of pages in a range of colors, lots of neutrals, and then just like a few little like kind of more statement pages that, you know, could go in the middle of a signature. Okay, so this is like a very, you know, chill like watercolor basic paper here, and then we have like, this is more of a stunner here, so it's more of a centerpiece. We get some butterflies here, a colorful little checkerboard. This is what I'm talking about with the neutrals. I mixed in a lot of these into the kit because these are great backgrounds. Okay, we have a little forest path here. This I did use as a centerfold for one of my signatures. Okay, I did linen papers in all different colors. Graph paper. There's another linen paper in green. And we have some more grungy, like, inky butterflies here. This is just like kind of a splotchy collage here. I did use this for the end papers for my journal. I'll show you those in a minute. Another neutral here. Some leaves, just to add a little color in there. Graph paper here with the branches up here. Like a yellow linen. And then this is like kind of a yellow watercolor with, it has like a little bit of a floral print in it, a little lace on the edge here. We got ourselves like a nice like kind of lavendery linen background. There's a lined, tea-stained lined pages. There's this like kind of watercolory checkerboard here in neutral colors. There's kind of an orangey one here. I tried to hit all the colors. This is one of my favorite ones here. This kind of like, it's like kind of like a funky painting of flowers. It's just so pretty. Watercolor. We have another neutral patchwork one here. Pink. And then a watercolory kind of sunset here. This cute little hearts one. A rainbow. And of course I had to do some a cloudy sky here. It's kind of distressed. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but it's pretty cool. Some more leaves here. And that's the papers for this kit, okay? So now this kit depending on what you want to do for your cover, you can do whatever you want. You could use a journal you have. You could use a notebook if you have a composition book already. You don't need to make a journal. This is just fun for me, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. But if you just want to use something that you already have, don't feel like don't feel compelled to make anything. All the templates are in the kit for the pieces that you need, okay? So this is, if you would like, I included the templates for the journal that we usually make, or we have been making for the past couple of months. We've made a bunch of them with the inner and outer spine and the, just the two end papers on either end. I have a ton of tutorials for this journal. I will link one of them below. I did include those templates in this kit just in case you wanted to make one of those journals. And those are the ones that, like, we basically, the last time we used it was on the ephemera stash journal, so it looks like this, and it has the, the outer spine here, the two end papers here, and then it has the inner spine. So it's a hidden spine journal. That one was made just with cardstock. Today, I'm going to go ahead and make one that's hardback, so we'll be using chipboard. So just so you guys can get an idea of what some of the other options are out there for journal making. Okay, so these are the two templates we're going to be using today, okay? If you are going to make this, if you're going to make the other journal, these are the templates you're going to be using for that, okay? You're going to need this template no matter what you do, because this is the punch, the signature punch template. All right, hopefully that's clear. You guys can ask any questions in the comments below. Fortunately, we have a very helpful community, so if I don't always see the question, sometimes there's already an answer there by the time I get there. So just ask your questions below, or you can head over to the Facebook group and you can ask them there as well. Okay. This is our ephemera for day one. We're going to be doing a library pocket in the front, just, to put, so we can put our dates, our names and all that stuff into the pocket right in the front of the journal. And then I also included a set of numbers. So there's a full set of numbers in the 2-inch size here for the whole month. And then there's also a smaller version of the numbers here as well. Okay, so that's those. And we'll give you guys a quick, I have my journal here from January. Just so you can see, this is how we use the numbers here, like this. But you can also see what happened to my journal, because I way underestimated how much space that I would need to complete the whole project. So I just made it, as you can see. And now this thing can't even really go on the shelf. It has to stay in a box. But because of that, that's why I'm doing a bigger journal this year, okay? So for that journal, what you're going to need to do is make some signatures, okay? This is pretty easy. It's just folding paper in half. Okay, so you need to pick, here's what I did for my signature. Please feel free to do whatever feels best to you. I put 5 papers in from the kit in each signature. And then I also incorporated some extra papers. So one of the things I did for this year is I made a scavenger hunt to kind of help gather some things that might be fun to put in your journal as we work through the month. And one of the things is, on the list is, something that you've been saving. So basically I have a tendency to hoard my Tim Holtz paper. So I decided that I would use it in this journal. I actually have, like, I've been hoarding it for so long. I have one of the original paper pads from, I don't know, years ago. Uh, and the kind that had like the wax on the top and you had to like kind of tear it out, or glue. I don't know what that is at the top. It was something. But you can see where I tore it, I had to tear it out, and it kind of tore away the page a little bit. But anyway, so I incorporated a bunch of pages from those paper pads that I've had forever, because I was able to replenish when he did his little release. He did like, I think it was the beginning of the year. He did a re-release of a bunch of the paper pads. And then I also used some backdrops in here, and I used some glassine. Okay, so I added a few extra pages into every one just for a little bit of variety. I just thought it'd be fun to have different size pages, but I wanted to make sure that every signature did have, you know, enough pages to get through the week. So basically I'm going to divide my journal into 4 signatures, 1 signature for each week of the month. Okay, so that's what I did for these. So 5 of these papers, and I put in 3 random papers. That is more paper than we're going to need, but based on my experience last year, it wasn't last year, it was just in January. It feels like it was a year ago. But based on my experience with that, I needed extra pages. A couple of the spreads that I did like ones where I cut the pages so you could see behind it. So, you know, I just want to make sure I have enough room in the journal. So I did 4 signatures. All of them are exactly the same. So they all have 5 papers from the kit printed on 110-pound cardstock. They have 1 piece of glassine in each signature, 1 Tim Holtz like paper pack paper that's 8x8 in here, and 1 backdrop from Tim Holtz as well. And it was from, like, I think it was Backdrops 1 is where I got all of the backdrops from that I put in here. I forget which paper pad I used, so I'll have to write it down below. Okay, now, with all of that said, we're going to move on to the actual journal construction now. And I'm going to go through really quickly what you need. And all of the sizing of the templates for this stuff are in the kit. So basically the journal itself, the panels here are 7x9. Okay, so this is spine. I'm doing a 2-inch spine. This is the spine template right here. Okay, it looks like this. It has the holes already in it. I'm doing a 2-inch spine, 4 signatures across. This is just like the ephemera stash. So if you made that, you know, you're good here. I have 2 end papers because I need 2 end papers for the inside of my journal. For the cover, I'm going to use this fabric here. And so for if you're going to cover it in fabric, this is 12x18 is the size of this here. And I will write everything down so you don't have to stress out about remembering all this. And then you need 2 pieces of fabric. These are for the spine. So you need 1 piece of like just anything. This like muslin here is 7x9. Okay. And then you need another 7x9 in an attractive fabric that you'll be okay with people seeing. Now, honestly, you could use the muslin as well. I mean, because it's very neutral. It's just very thin. So just, well, you'll see how this goes together. You're going to see this fabric, but you won't see this fabric. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to start out with our covers. And the cover template is in there as well. It's in the kit. So all you have to do is, what I did for mine actually is I printed the cover template on the back here, and then I just printed this one on the reverse side of it, and then that just allowed me to cut everything out without having to measure anything, because personally, when people start saying things like score at 2 2/3 of an inch and, you know, measure this and measure that, my brain stops working. So that's why I have templates for everything. So all you can do is trace it. If you want to know the sizes, I'm going to try to mention them all here so that, you know, at least you're getting an idea of what the sizes are. But these are all the standard sizes that I always use, okay? All right, so to start, we need the muslin here, and we're going to need our spine here. I have an extra spine because, oh, the chipboard is 50 point. If you don't have chipboard, you could use cardboard. The best kind of cardboard to use is the kind that like is in like a cereal box, not the kind that's corrugated, because that kind's a little bit squishy. Not saying you can't use it, you could totally use it. But you're looking for something that's pretty solid. And you can always glue two pieces of cardstock together. I've done that with lighter weight cardstock to get the heavier, you know, chipboard weight. And I've had zero problems with that. So, okay. So the first thing that we are going to do here before we do anything else is I'm going to get my craft knife and we're going to score this spine so that it can have a little bit of a curve to it, okay? We're not going to score it super deep. We're just going to score it lightly. Okay, and to do that, all you need is a knife and a roller. I'm going to try to do this straight, but you never know. And you can, like, you know, just score it. Like, you don't have to measure. Just score it a little bit every now and again. And this particular, like, oops, I went right down the, works really well when you do you glue the two spines together because you don't have to worry about going through both. You know, you have like kind of a safety net. You just can go through the first one. This knife is really sharp. Okay, I'm gonna turn it over. Basically what this is going to allow us to do is give us some bend to our cardstock, or to our chipboard, and then this is a totally unnecessary step. This is totally up to you if you want to do it. It just gives it like a more authentic, bookish feel, you know what I mean? Okay, so you'll have score lines down it, and so you can start to kind of bend it a little bit just to get it to curve a little bit. And you don't need a big curve on this. I just want a gentle one. For this one, not like a big deal here. Okay, so I've got like a little bit of a curve here going, and I think that's pretty good. Okay, so that's going to be my outside. Okay, so now we're going to put all of our templates and stuff aside. I'm going to use Mod Podge for this. It works really well. I've never had it fail me. I think some people use like Fabri-Tac for this, which you totally could do. That's just not my, like, you know, favorite situation for doing the cover. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we're going to glue this on here in the middle so that we have our two side flaps here that we're going to attach our cover onto. Okay, and then once we have all that done, we can attach the fabric to the outside of the journal. Okay. All right, I'm going to start by putting my glue on here. The nice thing about, one thing I like about using the Mod Podge is that you can get yourself a pretty good, solid, even coat on here. And pretty quickly and easily, too. Okay, so I'm going to put that on there. Then I'm going to drop my fabric onto the... Let's see if I can do this evenly. I'm going to put a little bit more on the corner here, just to make sure that sticks. Okay, and then we're going to get our two covers, which are, I'm going to tell you the measurements. I don't want to do it from memory. These guys are 6 by 9. Okay, so that's pretty easy to remember. But the template is, like I said, it's in the kit for these. And it's the same template that you were going to use to cut out your end papers. Okay, all right, let's flip this guy over. And then what we're going to do is we're going to attach our covers. Okay, when we do this, I'm going to have to trim my top there. I guess I cut it a little bit too long. You want to leave a little bit of a gap in here, okay? Not a big gap, just like, it's very tiny gap that you need to leave in there. So, okay, here we go. You can just kind of like, it basically, your gap is just so that your book opens and closes smoothly. You don't want your paper, your cover and your spine butting up against each other every time your book opens and closes. Okay, so just a little tiny smidgen of a gap there. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put the glue on here. Oops. And then I'll put the chipboard down on top of that. And there's going to be multiple, like fail safes in this construction. So, this is going to get glued here. There's something else is going to get glued on the back of it, so you're going to have like a really sturdy situation when you're done. I think I did this backwards. Turn this around. Now I'm going to do this side. And then I'm just going to leave a little smidgen of a gap. Oh, press that down. now we have a semblance of a book cover going on here. Okay, so I gave this a minute to dry here. And I gave it a little help too. Okay, with the heat tool. Okay, and then so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this onto the fabric. Okay, so it doesn't matter at this point which way. There's not a back or a front to this journal, so you don't have to really worry about that. I'm gonna start with the spine. I'm gonna glue the spine down first, and then I'll do each of the sides. And then we'll flip it around and do the inside here. Turn this over. Just kind of put it in the middle here. Hopefully that's about the middle. I have plenty of leeway around the edge, so that's really all that matters. Okay, I'm going to flip this up. Then we'll do this side here. If you want, you could also cover this like in like a light cotton, like anything, like a piece, like even if it was like a piece of like white sheet, and you could paint it as well. So you know, there's a lot of like options in terms of what you could use for this, because I know there was a little bit of discussion in the Facebook group with, you know, the idea of like, oh, I don't have what I need. But the whole deal with this whole junk journal July is that you don't need anything. You know, it's creatively using what you already have. So, you know, that's where the prompts are kind of, they can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure my crease here gets maintained, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't want anybody to feel like you need to have something to do this. You don't need to have anything. You don't even need to have the printables, you know. You could just use what you have. You don't need to print anything if you don't want to. You know, your journal, because we're going to decorate the pages every day, it could just be white paper if you wanted, or tea stain paper, or random book pages that you found. You know, that was like kind of the idea behind the scavenger hunt, of kind of like taking like a little bit of inventory of, you know, what we have hanging around the house, right? What are the things that we bought and haven't used? I have a whole pile of stuff because I've been so busy lately. I have not been able to use as much stuff as usual, which is why I love doing this, because this kind of gives you the freedom to like kind of freelance on stuff, right? We don't have a specific theme. So if you want to stamp steampunk one day and then do like watercolor flowers the next day, that's, you know, that's completely up to you. You know, I need my other bone folder actually for this. I think overall this is just like quilting cotton, and it's behaving very well. Just want to make sure I got everything there. Okay, so we're going to flip this over now, and we're going to do this side. Okay, so before we put the glue down on this, What we can do is kind of take a look at our corners here and do a little trimming to kind of alleviate the extra fabric that's going to be in the corners. For me, this is always like a super nerve-wracking process. I don't know why. I guess it's because I don't, the whole cutting of the fabric, it's like, you can't fix that once it's been done. So I tend to be like, I tend to err on the side of caution with doing this. Like, I've seen some people, they're just like, whoop, whoop, and they're just cutting their corners off, like, So I guess it just depends on the brain you've got. I feel like when you do this whole, like, you pull it up and you pinch it like this and cut it, I find it a lot less nerve-wracking. And I can always trim off a little more if I need to. Okay, so let's go ahead and go with, do I have my, yep, everything's working there, everything's working there. Okay, let's start with the bottom edge, or the top edge, whichever one this is, I'm not sure. I'm gonna go ahead and go here. It looks like I got a little separation right here. Okay. I'm just gonna go. Oops, I forgot to cut a little gusset for my spine. I'll do that really quick. I'm just going to cut up right here, just so that the fabric doesn't bunch. Okay, so we'll go here. Here. And that just gives you a little bit of give right in your spine area. So that you have a good bend in your spine there. Okay. All right, so we're going to do this side now. There we go. So that's all down. Now we can do our ends here. I like to put a little bit extra glue on the inside here, right where the spine is, so that I know everything's glued down really well. Oh, I shouldn't have said spine. I should have said corner. Sorry. Sometimes, you know your mind wanders when you craft sometimes. Like, sometimes, like, I'll be doing a video and my mind will start to think about other things when I'm crafting because it's, like, such a habit. Okay, so let's do this side. Fold that in. And then fold this over. Alright, now this part is going to be covered by our end papers, so you don't have to stress about it too much. You just want to have a nice little corner, you know, right there. This is going to be so exciting. I have a new journal. Just make sure that all my edges are down here. Alright, that looks good. Check my spine here. We're looking good. Okay, so this is going to get a few minutes of a break to dry while we make our signature block, which is good because I think it's going to need a few minutes of undisturbed drying time here. And I'm going to tip it up like this. I like to let it dry with the bend in the spine here. Okay, so for this part, we are going to need our piece of cotton here that matches our cover. It doesn't have to match the cover, just, you know, whatever you would like to be in your spine. It's going to be visible between the pages. Other than that, not so much. Okay, and then we also need all of our signatures and our template here. Okay, so what's going to happen here is that we are going to flip this over. I need to check my, okay, because I want to make sure that I have this going the right direction. This fabric sometimes can play tricks on you in terms of, like, which way do you want it to go? I think I want it to go like this. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually glue this onto the back here of this so that we have our template, like, just right on the fabric. I'm going to just trim the end of this just a smidge because it looks like it's going over to me. I don't know if it actually is, but I don't want it to, so make sure that it's not too long. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better there. Okay, so we're just going to center that in the middle, and then we're just going to glue this down onto the fabric. And I'm using cardstock for this part right here, which is 110. I only use all the paper that I've used for today is all 110-pound cardstock. Okay, I'm just going to put that in the middle there. Okay, and then what we're going to need to do is just poke our signature holes through there. I pretty much have glue on everything at this point in the process. Okay, so here's my all. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to poke my holes in. Actually, no, I'll do it now. I'm going to poke my holes in here. And we're going to be sewing our signatures to this side of the fabric, okay? Just be careful you don't poke your finger. Okay. Now now what we're going to do is clip all of our signatures together, and then we're going to punch them all at once. Okay, so just make sure all your papers are nested in there really well, and you like how everything is set up. Do this. There we go. So there's one, and we're going to nest these all together. Okay, so now we're going to punch our holes in here. Okay, so I've got all these in here. I've got them reasonably lined up here so that they are even. Then I have my punch template, which I have folded in half. And then you're just going to kind of center this guy on here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to punch through all these guys. There we go. Okay. And we're all set there. And we can put this away. And we can start sewing. Okay, I'm going to get my needle, and I'm going to get my thread here. You want to be generous with the thread on this one because you know, you don't want to get to the end of it and realize you didn't have enough thread. I'm going to sew them in all one at a time. If you want to sew them, I'm going to sew them all together in at the same time. If you want, you can sew them one at a time, which probably makes the whole running on the thread thing not an issue. I have so much glue on my hands. Okay, so, all right, so what we're going to do is take these guys one at a time and sew it right in here. Okay. Okay, so I have my thread here and my needle, and I'm going to start sewing here. I did 3 lengths of the book per signature for thread. So hopefully that will be good for me for the whole entire thing. If you want to just sew them individually in, that would work too. Okay. Okay, let's make sure we're all going the same way. Okay, great. So we're gonna start here. I'm gonna come in the back of the template here, in the middle, And I'm just going to leave myself a good, decent tail so that I don't accidentally pull this completely through. Alright, I'm going to go through my middle here. And then in through the top. Come on, little buddy. It's hard to see it in the fabric. Alright, there we go. It's coming through. Okay, and then we're going to go all the way down to the bottom here. And then we're going to go in the bottom hole as well. Whoop. This, and then we're going to go in through the middle here. So to make sure I'm not, just pull firmly but not too tight, if that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm going to go in through this middle hole, and when you do that, you want to come up on the opposite side of the of this middle thread here from the original tail. I'm having a little trouble talking and doing this at the same time. Okay, so there we go. So we've got our signature in there. Make sure that's pulled firmly. And I'm just going to tie a little bit of a knot there to hold that one in place. And then we're going to go over to the next one right here. Okay, so we're going to come up through the middle. Yikes. Just knock that over for like the third time. Should probably put that away. Okay. Oh, I need to get my next signature. I'm just going to pull that through. And then we're going to come up through the middle of this one. And in through the top here, and out through the top of this one here. Okay, it's caught. I got a lot of bulldog clips here I gotta keep track of. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure this is pulled through there. Okay, now we're gonna go all the way down to the bottom here. And then through the bottom hole in our signatures. And we're just going to pull there. Okay, and then we're going to go in through the middle again. Which hopefully should be easier since we've already come up through that one. Okay, so I'm going to come up on the other side of this. There we go. Do a little visual check there. Okay, now we're on to signature 3 here. So I'm going to go ahead and come up through the middle of this one here, in the middle. Oops, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't just hit the camera. Every time I make a signature like this, I hit it. Okay, so now I'm going to come up through the middle of this guy here. Then we'll go to the top. There we go. Okay, now we're going all the way down to the bottom. Make sure that's pulled firmly. And then we'll go through the middle. Hopefully we can take that right through the back. Oops, I want to make sure I'm coming through the hole. Yep. Okay, and now I'm into the back, onto the back of the signatures again. And then I just want to pull this. Do I have it? Okay, it does feel like it could be pulled a little bit tighter. I'm gonna make sure. There we go. Alright, now I'm gonna slide this under here and then through here. Last time I goofed this part up because I forgot to come through with the needle and it messed everything up. There we go. Everything looks good there. All right, now we're gonna go to the middle here, this one, and then we're going to add our last signature. And here and into the back. And And then we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. Make sure I pull that firmly. Alright, and up through here. Okay, now we're going in through the middle here. I'm just going to take a little peek underneath. Oops, my awl's in the way here. And make sure that I go in the right way there. Okay, now I just have to pull everything to tighten this up. There we go, that looks good. Oh my god, I did it again. How? Okay, now we're ready to put our signature block into our journal. So we'll start with the middle, and we'll just plop that right on there. And then we will do the sides and the end papers, and then we'll be in good shape. Here. And I'm going to run some on the back of this too. Just double duty here. Right on my knots. Those don't come out. Okay. And that should just fit right in there. Here, and then I'm just going to try to press down between the signatures here. I think I might have cheesed at the glue, on the glue at the end here. So I'm going to add a little bit more in there. That's the nice thing about glue. It's a little bit forgiving. I'm just going to wipe off the excess there. Just check the other side. Yeah, I was a little bit cheesy on the glue, huh? There we go. I should probably not be using an awl for that. Alright, I'm just going to run my bone folder into this crease here. Oops. We still have to glue this piece down, so I just want to make sure there's a crease there still. All right, I'm going to put glue here and just glue the flaps down on either side. Okay, and now we'll do the other side. Put that up there. Okay, let's do our end papers now. I gave this a few minutes just to try to settle. Okay, I'm gonna just pop this end paper on here. It's not the best situation for this. I don't really have anything to lean it against. Just make sure all that fits on there. You know, because if your paper cutter is slightly off or whatever, you know how that goes. Just gonna put it on the back here. I'll just move that out of the way temporarily. Glue this guy down. This one here. Right up against the edge here. And then we'll flip over and we'll do the back one. I'm going to glue this one on this way, because I glued the other one on the other way. Make sure that I don't overshoot that crease right there, which is kind of hard to see with all the fabric on it. Gonna do the front, and then we can put in all right, look at that. Okay, so this is the front of my journal here, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my library card on this page right here. So I need to get those pieces really quickly. They are right here on the desk. I just knocked them all over the place by accident. Okay, so there's a library card. There's the pocket here. There's the back of the pocket. So let's go ahead and attach these two together right here like this. So the glue, this glue goes here, like so. And since today's prompt is fabric, I have a piece of like this linen right here. Or is it canvas? It's not canvas. It's too thin to be canvas. It must be linen. It'd just be great if I could glue this on straight though. Okay. But what I thought would look cool is if I put this behind the pocket. You know, kind of like a little offset here. So basically you just need to trim this to the right size for the pocket. And then I can just fray my edges a little bit here. That one edge was frayed a lot, so I thought maybe I better not. There we go. All right, let's see how that goes. Yeah, I think just a bit more. And that'll look really cute right on top of this. Okay, let's go ahead and glue. I'm gonna glue first to the fabric and second to the journal. And then here we go. I'm not sure. Maybe I should have used the Mod Podge on here, huh? I'm just gonna glue on the center so that my edges can still have some, you know, movement, basically. Right, I'm gonna go for the middle here. And then, you know, we have these huge numbers as well as the little numbers. So we can attach those if we like, as well as some little labels and stuff. July here. I also have this, and I have the tag. It is kind of crazy that it's July already, huh? Put that on here. have my leftover thread here, which I thought I could use to kind of jazz this guy up a little bit. I'm gonna grab my tiny attacher. So I have my 1, I have my July. You know what, I wonder if I cut like a piece of this. This is what always happens to me, my brain starts going. Okay. Okay, so we got that. We got all this. We're going to attach this all to our tag. I just want to make sure you can see July. There we go. And then we'll do a little stapler action here. Put that on there. That's cute. There we go. I'm not going to use that guy because okay, for some reason I have the Tim Holtz like Halloween ephemera pack on my desk I have no idea why. I must have been cleaning and found it, and you know, it was in the wrong place, so I put it on my desk. But I'm thinking I'm gonna add this little specimen label. I would stamp it, but this video is already like probably so long that yeah, okay, so I'm gonna make this a tuck spot here. That I'm like getting a little stressed out, so I figure I will just add this stuff on here and then call it a day for today, and then if we want, we can add more stuff to it later. I really would love a flower of some sort like to go on here, but I don't have anything within reach, so I will look around and see what I can come up with for tomorrow. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video, which was pretty hefty considering, you know, we made a journal and we attached our first, you know, little decoration to the journal as well. I like having this here. I think I might make a pocket or something for in here, so we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow I will be sending out a second freebie pack, or it's the third one of this week, and that will cover all the days. The freebie pack that went out today with this only covered the journal and day one. It was a lot, so I just thought I better divide it up so that it's not like such a massive file for everybody to download. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys tomorrow.